Hey, Michelle, how are you doing?
Hey, Aubrey, I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to record with you today. Guys, Lindsay is out of town, so she is not here, but don't worry, she will be back. And we're looking forward to having her back. But Aubrey, we're having some fun over here, right?
Yes, I love recording with you, Michelle. I'm excited for this episode today. Tell me, what is the name of the recording software that you use to record things like ads and titles?
Oh, it's Audacity. Yeah, that's the software that we record on,
Which is
and
a
so
fun name for software because
Audacity.
it has an interesting meaning in English, right? It's not just the brand of some computer recording software.
Yes, exactly. So today we have a great question from our listener, Beta, about this word. Would you like me to read the question? This is
Yeah,
from
let's do it.
YouTube. All right. So Beta says, "Hey guys, the other day I came across the term audacity on an Instagram reel. I've been hearing it all the time, but I didn't know the exact meaning or whether it is used in a positive or negative way. I would appreciate it if you could make an episode about it. Your longtime fan, Beta." Okay. Great question. And thank
Really
you
good
for
question.
being our longtime fan. We're so appreciative of
Yes,
you.
thank you, Pizza. And great question. And we use it both ways. So this is really interesting. This might be super positive to say someone has audacity. It might
Mhm.
be negative. When
Yeah.
we say like,
Yeah.
oh, the audacity. So I'm excited to dive into all of these.
Exactly. So, yeah, this is a super good question. I mean, when I hear the word Audacity, I think of, well, first of all, our software, but I also, one of the first things I think of is Barack Obama, because he had a book called The Audacity of Hope. Um,
Yes,
yeah.
amazing. I don't know if I told you this, Michelle, or listeners out here, you may have heard this, that my son recently had to memorize a speech at
Yeah.
school, and he memorized Obama's Yes, We Can speech, and it was all
Yes.
about hope and unity. It was selections of it because it had to be 3 to 5 minutes, but he did such a great job. It was so amazing. That's just
Yeah.
such an amazing message of hope.
Yeah, you sent me the video, I remember, and
That's
he's just
right.
what an
I was so
incredible
proud of it.
boy, right?
Yes.
You must have been just beaming, right?
Absolutely, but it is interesting to
Oh.
use it this way to say the audacity of hope. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about more what this means. I mean, all right, let's get into it. So it basically means this confidence, this boldness. You don't have fear, right? Um,
Exactly.
and you can be used. It can be used in either a positive or a negative way, don't you think?
Exactly. So here, this is very positive. The audacity of hope, meaning like we are willing to hope even in spite of
Right.
challenges, in spite of
Yes.
fears, right? We're lacking fear. We have confidence that we can have hope in spite of any reason that we wouldn't.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, let's give some examples of how it can be used in a positive way. I mean, here we go. Here's the first one. It's amazing that he had the audacity to move to New York all by himself. I wouldn't be that brave.
Yeah, and this is really interesting to think about describing someone as having audacity. You don't always know for sure how positive someone is being, right? If you say this,
Mhm.
there could be an implication that you think it's sort of foolish or foolhardy, right? That someone
True.
maybe is just moving with no funds, no plan, be like, he's got a lot of audacity to just move to New York by himself, right? That might
True.
be almost a criticism, but someone
Mm.
else might mean it as really a compliment, like, I'm impressed that they're that brave. I don't know if I could
Yeah.
do it. And there's no implied criticism. So that's interesting about
Mm.
this word. Sometimes you won't really be sure.
Yeah, that's true. You would have to listen to the intonation. You would have to maybe know something, a little something about the person who's saying it.
Totally. Or you might
Um,
even have to ask a follow-up question,
True,
right? Like
true.
you could say, like, I think it's so impressive. What about you? Or
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yep, yep. Or here's another example. His fashion choices show his audacity. He really stands out on the red carpet.
Yeah, and again, right? Is there an
Yeah.
implied criticism here or is it only a compliment? You might see this word audacity in news media and the author may have intended one or the other and you won't be sure.
True. So
Interesting.
let's talk about more of the negative side. Yeah, I mean, Aubrey, you've made a really good point that even the positive ones could be
Could
negative.
be like a veiled criticism. This is where it's
Yeah,
very
veiled
subtle, it's very
criticism.
slight, it's not obvious because it could be
Yeah.
taken positively.
Right. But these ones are a little bit more obvious that they're
Mm.
negative, right? It's almost in this way, audacity means almost too brave. And Aubrey, you want to read some of those
Sure. So
examples?
you might say, I can't believe she has the audacity to think she didn't need to audition for the part. This is definitely a criticism, a judgment, right? It's not a kind
Hmm.
thing to say. You probably would not say to someone's face, I can't believe you have the
No.
audacity to think you could get the part without auditioning. Like,
Right.
this is really harsh.
Right. Or if he has the audacity to argue with his boss, who knows what he will do next?
Right. This definitely means like they're overly bold to the
Yeah.
point that it might be causing problems for them, right? This is
Right.
definitely a negative characteristic sometimes to have audacity.
Right. Yep. It really depends. Okay. So, Aubrey, yeah, to me, when I hear audacity, I do think that I I do think more of the negative side, right? Somebody has the audacity to do something. Like it's
Same.
shocking. Yeah, you too? I
Yes,
don't yeah.
I think that is how I hear it used more and how I use it more, but it can be positive. So that's why it's really tricky, you know, if someone's saying like I really admire her audacity, that's positive, right? Because
Mhm.
if someone is very shy and timid and has no audacity, they might really admire that in other people. And they see themselves, maybe they're getting steamrolled a lot. They're like, I wish I had more audacity.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and it can be positive, like that New York example, but that could also be negative. So, it's really, you have to think about the context. But I also wanted to point out the grammar. We often say the audacity to do something, the audacity to blank, right? So, Aubrey, I thought we could play a tiny little game. I'm going to
Oh,
give some
okay.
examples and we'll talk about if we think it's more positive
Oh,
or
you know I
negative.
love a game. I'm excited.
Oh god. All right. I'm shocked that she has the audacity to start her own fashion company. She always seemed so timid to me. So what do you think? Is this more of like I'm shocked in a good way?
This definitely seems more positive, right? If you
Yeah.
are seeing someone as normally being timid and they
Yeah.
have overcome that and they have the audacity to create a business, where's the negative there, right?
Mhm.
I think this is definitely positive. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Now let's do this one. I'm shocked that she has the audacity to start her own fashion company after the way she behaved at that conference.
Ooh, this is negative. I didn't see the behavior at the conference, but it sounds both in your intonation
Yeah.
and some like context here. The shock, like I am shocked that she has the audacity. You can
Yes.
hear in your voice that this is negative.
Right. And sometimes, Aubrey, you were saying at the beginning when we were talking about the episode that you often say it like this. You want to do it for us?
Yeah, I will after someone says something sort of shocking, I'll just say, "The audacity." And this isn't just me, I hear it used this way, this is very common, but this is
The
definitely how I
audacity.
most often use this word.
Yeah.
Let's do a little
Yeah.
role play to see how that might look, Michelle.
Okay. All right. She's always late.
Ugh, the audacity.
And you had
And
to
so all that
add a
means
little,
is I'm
oh.
saying sort of like, how dare she? Like think that it's okay to always be late, but it is a little bit playful, right? Because if I actually said that outright, how dare she
Right.
always be late? It's so
Right.
rude. All of that is so mean and critical. Whereas
Right.
to just be like the audacity. I'm sort
Right.
of poking fun at us for caring so much, right?
Right.
I'm
Right.
making it lighter.
Yeah, exactly. Some similar words you might hear are the gall or the nerve, right? So she had the gall to fire two employees who just earned her a lot of money.
Yes, we hear this a lot, right? She has some gall. I
Mhm.
can't believe she has the gall to do that. It's very similar, very interchangeable.
Yep. Yep. Or what's another one?
Or the nerve. I use this even more. I can't believe she has the nerve to do that. And this
Mhm.
is negative. I don't think I would ever say like, I was so impressed she had the nerve to start that business. I feel like I mostly hear this used negatively. What do you think, Michelle?
Hmm.
Could be
I think
positive,
it
maybe?
could be. Okay, I'm imagining somebody right standing up to somebody, right? I
Mm,
can't. I'm so glad that one of us had the
that's
nerve
a
to
good
stand up
point.
to blah blah blah,
That's a
right?
good point because then you're using it to mean courage, right? You
Right.
had the nerve to do that. You had the courage to do that. That's a good point. And even this other example that was so positive, if I put in nerve, I am shocked that she has the nerve to start her own fashion company. She always seems so timid
Mm.
to me, right? Very interchangeable. Interesting, because gall, I
Hmm.
would say I wouldn't say gall that way. I can't believe she has the gall to do this. I feel like that's always negative,
True.
the gall.
Very interesting. And then, of course, you could use more basic ones like fearless or fearlessness. Her fearlessness is exactly what got her to where she is in life.
Yeah, and this is much more positive, right? If someone is fearless, that's really usually there's no negative implication there. They're just brave, they're courageous, they're fearless. You'd have to really add a lot of context to make that negative,
Yeah.
right? Be like,
Yeah.
she really doesn't think before she acts. She's always been, but even then, I wouldn't say fearless. I would say maybe foolhardy.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I put foolhardy down as a key word for today
Mm.
because I really like it, but I don't use it that much, but I like it. So maybe I'll start.
Maybe I should start using
Maybe
it.
I'm
It
going
is
to
a little
start
less
it,
common, but yeah,
but
I
I
like
like
it.
it.
I like it better than foolish. I feel like the word foolish is so much kind of meaner and critical.
Mhm.
Foolhardy just sounds a little more lighthearted. So I say that usually instead of foolish.
I like that. I like it. All right. Let's do a role play. So here we are, friends, thinking about opening a boutique together.
Ooh, fun.
All right, here we go. I don't know. Do we have the audacity to actually do this?
Let's make our dreams come true. We are fearless.
Yes, no more working in bad situations where our bosses have the gall to call us in at 2 a.m. for no reason.
You can say that again. Mine definitely had a lot of nerve. Oh,
All
that's nice.
right.
Yeah, these are good because this is really how we use it, right? You first said, do we have the audacity to actually do this? And this is where it is being used just positively,
Positive.
right? Are we
Mhm.
brave enough to take this risk?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there it's positive.
And then we're kind of getting ourselves amped up. We're all excited. So you said, we are fearless.
Yeah, I'm giving us a pep talk here. We can do it. We do have the nerve to do this. And then you said our bosses had the gall to call us in at 2 a.m. for no
Oh,
reason. So this is very that
no.
negative use of like,
Yikes.
how dare they? They had the gall of doing something unreasonable.
Yep. And then you said, you can say that again. Mine definitely had a lot of nerve. So negative way. Yep.
Yeah, meaning they were willing to do things that were disrespectful or inappropriate. Will often just be like, you got a lot of nerve doing that. It means you're just criticizing, judging the action.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, this was a lot of fun, Aubrey. What a good question. Really brought us around to a lot of different conversation topics and talking about the depth of this word and how it really depends on the context. Guys,
Yes.
head on over to one of our Saturday episodes that we did, which was This Isn't What I Ordered, How to Ask for the Correct Order in English. You might need a little bit of nerve to do that.
Oh, that's a good point, right? It takes a lot of nerve to send back an order that was incorrect. I have the nerve to do that if it's really wrong or something's really bad. My partner does not. He would never.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just going to eat this silently. He doesn't
Oh
have the
no.
nerve to send it back.
I have the nerve.
Yeah, me too.
I have the nerve. I'm paying.
Right.
So anyway, takeaway for today is, you really have to listen about whether Audacity is used more in a positive or negative context. Aubrey and I kind of came to this conclusion that more frequently you might hear it in a negative context, but there are different situations, and we gave you lots of examples of that
Yeah.
today.
This is definitely a word to be a little bit careful with because you could intend to mean it positively and
Good point.
accidentally say it negatively. If the tone isn't just right or it's not clear by the context, right? Whoever you're talking to or about might misunderstand because it is often used negatively to say someone has audacity or I can't believe they have the audacity to do that. So definitely a pitfall to
Mhm.
watch out for in English.
Really good point, Aubrey. All right. Well, this was fun. Thanks for chatting with me today, and I'll see you soon.
Yes, awesome. See you next
All
time.
right.
Bye,
All right.
guys.
Bye.